am Orlando Jones, and I just want you to know that the Moana Nui Podcast will be starting soon. Stay tuned, yo.
I'm Veronica Taylor, and from myself and Ash Ketchum, I just want to say, Moana Nui, I choose you!
Our first interview from MomoCon is going to be Savannah Alexandra Art.
Hello.
And we ask that all of you come ask her, hey, Miss Savannah. And we ask that all of you come and ask your questions over here at the mic. And I will go ahead and ask the first one to get us started. I would like you, please, Miss Savannah, to tell us a little bit about your character design for the toy companies.
Oh, okay. So I've done a variety of character designs for TV shows and toys. Right now I'm mostly doing freelancing for toy companies. I did character designs for Mattel. I worked on their toy line called Cloudies. They are like little animals with like fluffy tails. So I did all of the concept art for that and kind of fleshing out the designs. And so there are actually the toys that are made, there are some toys out there that I'm like, oh, those are actually very, very close to my original concepts, which is really cool to see. And then currently I am a character designer and illustrator with freelance character designer and illustrator with Spin Master Toys. They do a bunch of stuff, but I think they have like Goond, the like stuffed animals, and they license to a whole bunch of different toy things, but I worked on their toy line called Zombies. They're like little blind box zombie girls. So I did a lot of the character designs for those, clothing designs, as well as illustrations that belonged in the packaging and on the little cards that come with them. I did some illustrations for those as well, plus a bunch of other concepts that some got canned, unfortunately, and others are under NDA, so I can't really talk about them. But so that's currently what I'm doing with toy companies.
Hi. So since you work with Mattel and you do a lot of designing of toys, I am curious to know, what is the design process like for creating toys on the artistic side?
So the interesting thing, because I came from an animation background, so I went to school for animation and I worked in the animation and film industry for 5 years before I fell into toy design. Like they found me. And there's similarities and then slight differences. The most, since I'm working, I came from doing, my only comparison is coming from doing character design on more like adult-centric TV shows like Archer and America the Motion Picture, to like toy design for kids, specifically mostly like girls or like female presenting or anyone who would be interested in like more femme toys. So obviously the big difference for me is going from like cool character designs to like super cutesy, like big eyes, sparkly eyes, and like making sure that it's like very, very cute and like bubbly appealing for young girls. You still want to have the same like understanding of character design from a base standpoint, so understanding your shapes, shape language, understanding silhouette, what makes an interesting design in general, what makes an interesting silhouette, what makes all of those things kind of come together. But one of the big differences between like designing for film or for TV shows or cartoons versus toys is you don't have to worry about the complexity of the design for toys, because when you're designing for animation, you don't want your design to be too complicated because people are going to have to animate it. And the more complicated the design is, the longer it takes, and the, more lines have to be drawn, or more shapes have to be added, like all of this, it becomes a little more laborious. But for toy design, they want it intricate because they're just going to like mass produce it, and they have like a machine that does it all, and the kids like more intricate designs. So they want you to kind of go over the top with your stuff. So you have to kind of like, I had to kind of like break that, like keep it simple, keep it simple to like more. And then also I don't have to worry like too much on the silhouette in general from film to toys, because it's not as important. I don't want to say it's not as important, but it's just different, right? Like you're looking at something moving across the screen versus holding it 3D in your hands. So the silhouette kind of is less important, I guess. And it's more about like the details and the colors and the shapes of like what the kids can play with and how tactile it is. I hope that answered your question.
Hi there.
Hi.
Can you talk about your reaction when you do go to these cons in the Southeast and you see your pinup creations or your other designs show up in cosplay? What is your reaction like when you see people showing up because of what you do?
It's like, it's so weird, like in a good way. Like, because, for example, with the puppets, for people who don't know, because I think this is going out places, right? So, like, for people who don't know, the puppets are a line of characters I created. They're my own characters that are a mid-century showgirl team that are based off of dog breeds. And so I designed, there's 11 girls, and they all have different kind of body images and personalities and everything, and so a lot of people have kind of gravitated and have like favorite girls and everything. And this concept I created, it didn't start as something that I was expecting anything would come of it. I just kind of like was like, I want to draw some dog girls, and then I did. And it kind of like ballooned into this whole bigger project, which is really awesome. So seeing people cosplay my own characters is like, first of all, it's like a character designer's dream. Like to see that and be like, wow, I have made characters that people like so much that they want to like dress up as them, which is like super validating, kind of. Like, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you guys like my stuff so much that you want to dress up as it. And I'm not gonna lie, like the first Puppets cosplay that I ever saw was at MomoCon 2018, and it was a group of girls. It was a whole set, and like I very vividly remember going down the escalator and seeing them all and being like, Savannah, and it was just all my characters, and I was like tearing up because I was like, this is like the sweetest, like most crazy, amazing thing ever. So now that it's like a bunch of people have done it, it's still really, really awesome. It almost feels surreal. Like I see it and I'm like, oh, what a cool character. And then I'm like, that one's mine. Oh, right, I made that. Oh, wow, people are like it. Oh, wow. And then if I think too much about it, I start getting emotional again. So it's like, it makes my heart really, really happy and really warm. And I'm so appreciative that people like it. And I think the one thing, especially with the puppets, because I've had people cosplay other designs I've done in the past, which is really fun. But the puppets have like kind of a special place in my heart because they're like such a big project that I'm still working on. And then also the thing that I really find interesting is that anyone who's like even introduced to them who don't know about them, they immediately get drawn to one character and it's always different. Like, everybody always has like a different favorite, which I think is really cool. And so that like makes me really excited when people don't know and I introduce it to them, and then I'm like, ooh, I wonder who they're gonna pick. Who's their favorite? So I hope that answered your question.
So I see you went to Savannah College of Art and Design.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a fellow art student, former art student myself. What was your college experience like? And when you were in college, did you expect to be where you are now, designing for Archer and designing toys?
So I had generally a good experience. All of my teachers at SCAD were really, really fantastic. I learned a lot from them. I had 2 animation teachers that I just like, still to this day, I'm like, you guys are such a like inspiration. You guys are great. I had a pretty good time. I definitely have a lot to say on art college in general with like cost and going into an industry where you don't get paid a lot for like the cost of school versus like what you're getting paid at. So that's like a whole different topic, but like in general, I had a good time. I think that art school and SCAD and can be really beneficial for people who need direction on growing their portfolio. Like they can't really self-motivate, or like they have a harder time self-motivating, and they need outside influence and teaching and stuff that can be really, really beneficial. And I'm that type of person who, like, if I just was left to my own devices, I would kind of live in my own like comfort zone. And so art school definitely pushes you out of it, which is really important, I think. I didn't expect to go into toys. I majored in animation, and I expected to just work in animation my entire life, I guess. I wasn't expecting to go to Archer. I was just kind of, you graduate and then you're like, all right, I got to get a studio job. And so I jumped around different studios and eventually got into, Floyd County Productions, who does Archer. And I was working with them for multiple years, and actually Mattel was the one who found me. Like they found me through Instagram and they reached out to me. So I wasn't I wasn't looking. They just kind of found me based off of some art that I did and were like, hey, can you design for Cloudies? And I was like, okay. And I really enjoyed that. And then Spin Master found me from Instagram as well. And I've been doing stuff for them. And then in 2021, I got laid off from Floyd. A bunch of people did, because it's just, the industry is a fickle mistress. So it kind of goes up and down. So one of the projects that we were working on got canceled, and so unfortunately they had to let like everybody on the project go. But I was still working with Spin Master at the time, and so I realized that I enjoy this. Like, toy design is way more closely aligned with my personal interests. Like, I like fashion and cute things and feminine stuff, so designing like little girl toys, I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, that sounds really fun. So I was not expecting to go into toys. It was not my goal, but I actually like it arguably more than working in animation, only just because it's like very close to like my personal interests.
So with your involvement with Archer, how did that come about?
Okay, so I worked in a few different studios first when I graduated SCAD around here in Atlanta, and then Floyd County Productions is the one who made Archer, and they are also based in Atlanta. And so I applied to them 4 times. I got turned down each time until the 4th time. And I was kind of just applying to get my foot in the door into like a larger studio, because when you graduate, you kind of like climb up a little bit from like smaller studio to slightly less smaller to you just kind of like go and gain experience along the way. So Floyd County was kind of like my next one that I was like, oh, I'm going to try to get into here, because this is like, you know, I went from doing character design and animation and storyboarding and background, basically like anything, from these smaller studios that do just like commercials and bumpers and stuff like that, to being like, I want to work on a show. And so the next one would be, you know, something like Floyd County or Bento Box. So I was able to get into Bento Box, and then I went from there, tried to get into Floyd. Like I said, I tried 3 times, got turned down. 4th time I got in. I got in as an illustrator, so I was just doing the pipeline for Floyd, for Archer is a little different than the normal animation pipeline. So we do like illustrations in After Effects, not After Effects, what am I saying? Illustrations in Illustrator, and then they animate it. So I was doing illustration work for them, and then after doing illustration work for them for a few years, they had like character design jobs open up like internally. So I applied to those, and then I got into doing character design on Archer for season 10. I think it kind of blurs together. 10 or, yeah, I think it was 10. I think I did character design on, like actual character design on. And then I was working on another project, which is the one that ended up getting canceled. But, yeah, so it was kind of like a weird, like, pathway, but you kind of eventually, it's one of those things that character design specifically is such a niche, small job, and usually even at big studios, like you only have a handful of people who do it, and people who are doing it usually will stick and continue doing it at the studio for a while. So it's kind of harder to get into. So it's one of those things where you just have to try and try and try and try and try. And if you don't get in the first time, you can try again, and not to get discouraged after like the first time or the second time or the third time, because a lot of the times after working in animation industries for a while, a lot of it is timing. It's just like who's there at the time, who's leaving, who's, you know. So there's no like direct path where I was like, oh, you have to do this to get here. It just is one of those things that kind of slowly you work your way in. I don't know if that answered your question.
I think that's quite enough. You are a doctor after all. Always nice to see you, Watson.
All right, so this is Mr. Nadji Jeter. He is he is from Atlanta. Woohoo!
Yes,
and
yes.
he is also the voice of Miles Morales in the Spider-Man games, as well as the voice of Sam in the Last of Us games. And if you guys would, when you ask your questions, please come over here to the mic so that we can get good audio for that. All right?
Yes,
And
yes.
Whoever wants to get started first, let's have it.
Let's rock and roll. What's up, dog? How you doing? Good.
Hey.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Pretty good. And yourself?
Doing well. What's your name?
Cardinal Holly.
Carnell Hollins. Nice to meet you, man. Nice to meet you.
Okay, so as we draw ever so near to a live-action Miles Morales, in which you look, embody him, what would you say you bring to the table for the character that differs from any other iteration of Miles Morales?
Oh, wow. Well, definitely I've grown with Miles since, great question too. So the difference between I and I think anyone else, or if that question came to anyone's mind, is I've grown with Miles throughout the years. I've played Miles since I was like 17, and then I had to play him since he was 13. So yeah, so I played him in middle school and growing up with him and in high school and meeting Pete and just that gradual growth of Miles. I took every road of that so far, so coming from Miles is 13 to Miles is now, what you all are going to see in this second game. It's a huge progression. Yeah. Thank you.
How you doing, sir?
What's going on, boss? How you doing? What's your name?
Nick. I'm from Aspire TV.
Nice to meet you.
I saw
Nick.
you in there chilling. I didn't want to mess with you until.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was you.
Yeah.
What's going on, man?
So I got a question for you. The fun thing about comics is that characters are constantly rebooted, relaunched, and their issues are renumbered, allowing for new generations to discover a hero. You taking on Miles gave new crowds access to fall in love with the character. What was the pressure like to not only be the face of Spider-Man, but to know that your face would be the one that millions of people will recognize as Miles Morales?
Man, I never expected it. I never really expected it. Because we were just on Disney XD. I was just on Disney XD just doing the TV show first. And it lasted for I want to say 2 to 3 years, and then Disney made their whole transition into going to Disney Plus, and then so I thought I was just doing a voice for him, at first, and then when Disney made that transition, PlayStation called me over and called us over hey, we're doing something over here. So I never expected it, man. And then they flew me to Serbia, scanned my face in Serbia. So I was in Serbia for 3 to 4 days, sitting in a booth. The sphere of cameras, and it's 90 cameras around me, and I'm this is new. This is going to another level. This is not just voiceover anymore. We're entering into a whole new realm. And just having that growth of already knowing Miles as a kid and growing up with him as a teenager, I was definitely prepared. Definitely prepared what was to come. But man, I'm thankful for it now, man. It's a blessing. It's truly a blessing. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I've seen you've done a lot of voice acting and acting from both television and film and video games. My question to you is, what is the process like preparing for, say, voice acting for a video game versus voice acting for just a TV show versus just a guest appearance on something like Grey's Anatomy?
Yes, definitely script-wise. I say that's the number one the biggest difference is you're in voiceover. You have your lines right in front of you. You're in the booth, you're closed in, and it's just you by yourself. So I think the preparation for that definitely is more of a mental change, because when you get on set with people and you have that physicality to work with, and you have those, that environmental ground to pick up props and, act off props and act off instinct and listening and reacting to people, it's more of a natural response when you get on set. So you kind of have a little more nerves, because you don't know how your natural reaction is going to go about. So I want to say that's the main difference. In voiceover, you're in the booth talking to the script, or talking to the casting director, or the voiceover agent, not voiceover agent, voiceover director, about just your whole scene. So yeah.
Hey man, how you doing?
How you doing, man? What's your name?
Hey, name's Nirav Gandhi. I'm with GameLuster.com.
Nirav Gandhi, nice to meet you, man. I didn't ask you your name. I forgot about that.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. So I know that you do some motion capture for the Spider-Man games.
Yes.
Where's that line drawn? Is that you flipping and spinning all over the city? Or?
Yes, they definitely do give me some limits, because I do have the camera attached to me as well too. So, but we have so many, not arguments, but they're gonna laugh if they see this. We have so many debates. I'm no, I want to do my own stunts. I want to do it. I want to crash. So they'll let me do do it to an extent, like, you know, because they'll put a foam wall right here and say, okay, he just crashed into a building, I'll have you crash and slide out, you know, or just they'll build like a they'll have like these poles on set, and they'll have like this just strange structure where they can tie a rope around their mocap stage and just have people swing around, you know. So they did that for me one time. So little things like that. But when it comes to the flipping and the fight scenes, yeah, no, I'm not in those, because yeah, it's just too much. Like, we tried, but cameras fall off and you know, all type of things.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, just real quickly, how much time do you think like you roughly spent doing like the mocap for Miles Morales versus like Spider-Man 2 now?
Oh, well, for each game, I want to say it took like roughly 2 to 3 years. Wow. Each. Yeah. I want to say both games took like roughly 2 to 3 years.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
I got questions to keep you here all weekend, but
Let's go.
Let's go. So, at Aspire TV, our motto is "See yourself here." So, when was the first time you experienced something, whether that was a show, a game, or a concert, and you said, "I can see myself here in this space"?
That's an amazing question. I'm gonna make my agent laugh over here. Bow Wow. Yeah. So I'm from out here. So I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, but my life has definitely been different. You know, since a kid, because I was Little Harry the Hawk. I don't know if y'all were at any Atlanta Hawk games from 2003 to 2007 maybe. But in between those years, I was Little Harry the Hawk. So yeah, I was from age 7 to age 10. I was dressing up. So they had Big Harry the Hawk and Little Harry from those years. We were coming in and do dance routines, all that, mess with the crowd, all that. So there's videos out there. But since a kid, I knew like life was different, and this is what I wanted to keep doing, because I was in the back of the arena with the players and just hanging out with them. I just knew as a kid this was different, and then waking up in the morning, going to school 6 a.m. in the morning, and then going to a game, and just having that lifestyle. So, but seeing people in concert, I had a lot of people that went, Usher kind of took me under his wing as well too, for a minute. So just having all those, people around, and coming from Atlanta, this is music mecca. So it's like, coming from this place, it builds your courage to dream big,
Thank you.
Yeah. Of course. What's up, man? I didn't get to ask you your name last time, did I?
Yeah, I know. I didn't introduce myself. I'm Mark. I'm from Blurredography. I'm also here from Atlanta. And I
nice to meet you, Mark.
Atlanta question to ask you.
What's going on?
So you were recently the face of Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is a classic Atlanta company.
Yes.
How does that make you feel, being able to represent an Atlanta brand and being from the city of Atlanta?
Are you talking about when I did the Coca-Cola print ad?
Yes.
Years ago? Yeah. Oh, how'd you dad? You went back. Wow. Oh, I was man, I was probably like 12. I was probably like 12 or 13 when I did that. But yeah, that was different. I was doing a lot of print ads back then, trying to be a little model, you know what I mean? No. But but no, I was like 12 or 13, just doing little print ads, and that came about, and it was an amazing opportunity to be a part of that. They had advertisements around everywhere, and then I think it was also one of those commercial print ads as well too. So I mean, that was an amazing find. I forgot about that, to be honest. But yeah, no, it's Coca-Cola, World of Coca-Cola. Of course, I haven't been to World of Coca-Cola since I was like 2 or 3 years old, which is crazy. I do need to go back. I remember when I was here, they had the underground, the candy apples and all that. Yeah, that's good old, yeah, those are my days. So yeah, I'm already knowing, but that was a great question. Thank you, bro. Yeah, man. Mark.
So as far as like aspiring voice actors and actors, like what would you suggest, since everybody's route is different, what would you suggest how they would approach to do what you do?
Take from your experience. Take from your experiences. I mean, if I'm answering your question correctly, you know, people trying to get into voice acting and trying to, you know, get into the industry of just acting in general. Real life situations are, you know, everything is natural. What we're doing, this is a whole scene. I tell people that all the time. You know, they're always asking, you know, what can we get into it? You know, what advice would you give? Just take from your experiences, you know, and just, I can't say be natural as possible, because everyone, you know, has their ways of people writing characters and how they want them and how they perceive them. So yeah, but I say just take from your experiences and make everything, you know, just connect to your own ways in life. So yeah.
I'm back again.
What's up, man?
So June is Black Music Month. Yes. So I want to ask you, what are some of your biggest music influences?
Hey, okay, all right. We're gonna start with Outkast. We're gonna start with Andre 3000. Start with Master P as well too. Man. I like Nirvana. Man, I love Nirvana. Let me see. Snoop, like Snoop, love Snoop. Man, I mean, musical influences. Those are people that, you know, set a tone. Tupac as well too. I like the Doors. You know, just making the sound of music timeless, and, you know, bringing out, you know, a new sound in music, and then influencing like culture. You know, like when you can do that through a record or through a track, that's insane. You know, so if you can make somebody feel and you know, live different through your ways of just hearing how you come off or how you dress or how you act, you know, everything is just like, okay, those are influential, you know, musicians. You know, of course, a lot of people have controversial ways of, you know, coming off, but if it moves through a culture, then yeah, that's influential to me.
Thank you.
Yes.
So you've done a lot of things,
yes, sir,
in your very short career so far, and you will continue to do great things.
Thank you.
But I just want to ask, what has been a defining role or defining an assignment or gig or job that you have done that you personally look back and like, I can't believe I did that?
Oh yeah. Oh, I want to say Sam from The Last of Us. Yeah, it was such like a quick in and out type of role, but what The Last of Us did, like, whoa. Yeah, it was over 10 years ago, you know, but I mean, no other game has kind of surpassed the numbers and just, I guess, you know, the awards and just the accolades that it has came to. You know, I look back like, dang, we were just, you know, in a mocap stage watching an ant video. It was the weirdest thing. I was at like the second callback and they had like a mutation of an ant on a video, like playing. I was like, this is different. I don't know what I'm getting into. But it was like 10 years ago, like I said, and we never knew what it was going to get to now, and people still remember that to this day, and that's 10 years ago. And I'm like, yeah, it's crazy, because that was like the first video game I did, the first experience I had with mocap, and then being around, you know, Troy, and then him telling me at a young age, he was like, once you're in this world, you're not leaving. You know, he was like, once you're in this matrix, this realm, I'm like, all right. So he wasn't lying. Like, he was right. So you know, I look back on that one like, yeah, I'm thankful, because without Last of Us, I don't think there would be Miles. I mean, I probably would have still ended up here, but like having that experience of mocap and them looking back like, oh, you know, he's been here before, you know, kind of kicked it up too. So without Miles, I don't think, or without Sam, yeah, I don't think it would be no Miles.
Yeah, on the topic of The Last of Us, did you get a chance to catch the show yet? And what'd you think?
Yes, I did. Yeah. Great cinematic follow-up. Yeah, great cinematic follow-up.
How do you feel like they did the character there versus you?
Amazing. amazing. I know Kevon. Yeah, Kevon. I haven't met him yet because he was too young to come to the premiere. When they had the premiere, I think he's like actually like 8. I think 8 maybe. But yeah, no, he followed me on Instagram and everything. So yeah, so my Troy told me first, he was like, wait till you see what they did. They added a little extra. I was like, all right. Yeah. Found out, I was like, oh my God. No, he actually told me at the premiere. He was like whispered in my ear. But yeah, so it was amazing. Great changes. I love Neil to this day. What's up, big bro? How you doing? But yeah, thank you for him. Okay.
This is gonna be the last question.
Okay. Suited and booted, man. What's your name? Oh.
Johnny Wolf. Nice to meet you.
I'll wait till you get on the mic. My bad.
My name's Johnny Wolf.
Johnny Wolf. Nice to meet you, man.
Yep. My name's Johnny Wolf. I'm from South Carolina. So I recently met Shameik Moore, and I had a conversation with his take on the Miles Morales character. My first question is, have you met him before?
Shameik and I grew up together.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Shameik and I grew up together, man. That's my brother.
All right, so the part 2 of the question is, how do you two compare your experiences with your takes on the Miles Morales character?
You know, we actually have not talked about that.
Oh.
We actually haven't talked about that.
You are gonna have a long conversation.
Shout out to Shameik Moore too. I'm gonna tell you how me and Shameik. So both of our grandmas actually are from the same parish and the same area in Jamaica. Saint Mary and Natabe, Saint Catherine. They're from the same area, so they grew up together. Not grew up together as well too. They just knew of each other out there. And then Shameik and I met when we were like 14, maybe. Yeah, 14. He did a appearance on my TV show that I did out here, and we just clicked ever since. You know, he sings as well too, and well, I don't sing, but he sings and dances, and I dance as well too. And then, you know, we both just clicked, you know. And then we've known each other since we were like 14, and I moved back to LA. Well, I was already living in LA, and then, you know, just making my ways back to the South to film, because a lot of production was happening out here. So I was filming out here, seeing Shameik and seeing him hanging out here, and then going back to LA. So during all that time, yeah, I mean, we both just grew up, and then we haven't seen each other in a couple of years, and then I started doing the TV show and the game, and then the movie came, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know they were having a movie. And I found out, I was like, I was dying. So then,
Talk
you
about
know,
a twist of fate.
yeah, right, yeah. So yeah, like I said, me and him, like, we would come out here in Atlanta, I'll come out here and we would have a ball. Like, seriously, we would tear up the city. So it's just funny how the world's just connected. And man, yeah, so we haven't had a talk about that yet. We need to. We have to sit down. I just saw him recently too. Yeah, I just saw him recently. So yeah, so shout out to Shameik Moore. Everyone go check it out. June 2nd, Spider-Verse. Everyone, every camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man.
All right. Thank you.
Who is this? I don't know. He's glorious. I mean, he's just like you, but way better. Way better. Thank you. No, it's not a compliment. I wouldn't touch him if I were you, buddy. You don't think I should touch him. You don't mind this, do you? Because I'm your buddy, too. I think he's gonna hit you. He punches so hard, but yet his hands are so soft. Be strong. Okay, bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sarah-Nicole Robles. She has been in The Owl House and Encanto as well, I believe. Mm-hmm. And she's done all kinds of other interesting things. Please feel free to ask her about it.
Hello, how are you all? Great, chilling, you know, it was great.
I'm trying to get him moved faster.
Oh, you're fine.
Hey,
hello.
How are you?
Great.
I'm Nick from Aspire TV, and
hey,
my question is, voice acting is so interesting because the voice rarely looks like the character. And to me as a voice actor, your role is the most crucial part needed to make a character come to life. So my question is, do you find your voice work more challenging knowing that it's such a big part of the overall character, or is it a little easier not always having to worry about a camera rolling in front of you?
Yeah, it is easier that you're not, like, that you're only focused on your voice. Because, yeah, if you when you're on camera, there could be cameras in 4 different places, plus your activity, right? So it's kind of more of a collaboration, like, in just the actual character development when you're doing voiceover work, because you're going to have a voice director, you're going to have your director, you're going to have your writer. Sometimes all of them are in the room, so we can negotiate and be like, oh, that was weird. Did that feel weird? Like, can we try this? So, yeah, definitely very different. Yeah, it feels like it's a totally different job sometimes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
All right. Q.
Nice to see you again.
So I have a question for you. It's not directly to what you do, but you fostered a dog about 4 months ago.
Yes.
Yes.
Billionaire.
Can you tell us about it?
Yes, his baby angel sent from God. I follow a bunch of local shelters, and they need fosters because the shelters are full by me. And basically, like, he was going to get put down, and I was like, this is such a small little dog. They said he's, like, healthy and social. Like, I have 2 dogs, so I have to be careful. Like, I can't have a dog that doesn't like dogs. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we were able to get him, and he was an angel. He's the easiest dog I've ever had. You know, if you're going to keep a dog, like, I think he had, like, 10 applications in 1 week. So, he's a dream. Actually, my parents took him, which is crazy. All these other applicants, and my dad's like, I called them, I got the dog. And I was like, what? So, he's a Texas boy now.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's talk about puppies.
Back again.
Hi.
So, at Aspire TV, the words we live by is see yourself here. So I wanted to ask you, when was the first time you experienced something, whether that was a show, a concert, or an event, and you said, I can see myself here in this space?
I don't know. Trying to think. Growing up? It's not a ton of Puerto Ricans. There's, like, Rosie out there. She's killing it. Tina Turner, I mean, she was pretty rest in peace, Tina. Yeah, that was like probably the best concert I've ever been to. She's very inspiring. She performed, I think it was like a 4-hour concert. She left the stage for like a minute for a costume change. So she was up there dancing, and what was she, like 60 at the time? So God bless, yeah. It's beyond inspiring.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're good. Don't scamper. I'm chilling.
Hey, I just wanted to ask you. So, would you describe yourself as a content creator?
Would I describe myself as a what?
As a content creator.
Content creator.
Right. Do those words.
Interesting. Sometimes. As an actor, like, no. Right. But one of my fellow actors and another production member of our show, we do a little live stream called The Post 2, and we kind of interview people in the business. Started with just our team. Now we have a lot of other people, just about like how they got to where they are in animation, you know, what their path was like, because it seems there's no right answer. So in that way, yes, but it does take a village. Like, I'm part of a team.
Okay, so you would you're a fan of separating filmmakers from content creators, then, is what I'm only asking.
No, not at all. I just think content creators, you're creating the content. When I'm acting, I'm reading someone else's lines. I am not creating it. I'm not directing it. I'm usually not even the sound engineer. So when I do voiceover especially, like, it's very compartmentalized. When I'm doing my live stream, yeah, then I am, you know, handling the mics, I'm handling the speakers, I'm handling the sound, I'm setting up the set, I'm handling the guests, I'm, you know, arranging the content, I'm booking people. So I feel like content creators have to flex a lot more than I do. Yeah.
JB versus the world.
Hi.
What would you say is your favorite, 2-part question, your favorite and least favorite aspect of voice acting?
Oof. Okay. Favorite? there's not like a lot of bad parts to voice acting. It's a pretty sweet gig, I won't lie. Okay, my least favorite is the vocal care. You know, it makes you kind of feel like a diva when you're like, I'm tired, you know, but my doctor always is like, you're like a vocal athlete, and so you have to treat yourself as such. You know, you gotta get lots of sleep, you gotta be drinking all your water, you can't go on vacation and fly in at 2 a.m. and go to work, you know, so I can't be in the booth after sleeping for 2 hours or being out all night. So, you know, that discipline and learning what you need is hard. It's really fun working usually with all of our directors and our voice directors, because it's just very collaborative when you're working on a character, especially in Scratch when the character's like still undergoing, the script's still undergoing so much change. It's definitely one of my favorite parts, just like exploring together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So if you weren't acting today, what do you think you'll be doing?
I just figured this out. So it was always like, you ever do those career tests in like high school? Those, I kept getting like I should be a soil biologist. Didn't really, impress me, or an actor. But I finally figured out the other day, like if I wasn't acting, what would I do? Because I used to think like maybe interior design, maybe cooking, but I think I would be a zoologist. Like I would go back to school, I'd want to work in a zoo, take care of some critters. That would be very fulfilling.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mark. I'm with Blurredography. My question to you is, when creating the voice of characters that you are voicing, is it more of, you mentioned a collaborative effort with the directors and things like that. Do you have any artistic creation in the personality of these characters, or do you just let them tell you how they want it and you just work it out that way?
Yeah, that very much varies. Even every director is different, so I won't even say it varies from like TV or whatever, but for example, on the Owl House, right? Lucy's pretty fleshed out. Am I acting? Yes. Am I bringing my personality to her? Yes, but I didn't change the lines. I didn't change a ton of moments. More what happened was sometimes I'd be asking questions. I'd be like, well, then why this? I've gotten the script. I don't understand why this would happen here, why I would say that and not this. So that's kind of the collaboration, but it's still, they'd be like, okay, let's rewrite that line then, that is kind of the level of interaction. Or when it's more like Scratch, when it's earlier on, then there's a lot more input, like, hey, what if she did this, or what if we changed this, or where's this person, that kind of thing. So it varies. Did I answer your question? Great. Hi.
All right, so you talk about how you read lines that people made for you.
Yeah.
But do you have a favorite line from them?
From ever?
From ever. Anything you ever done?
So many. I feel like one that's on like my daily affirmations is like, I'm a ding dang witch. Like sometimes you gotta remember like who you are, when you get in your own head. I like my line in Encanto. I only have one, but it's in the movie, so I like that one a lot too. It's very random.
Thank you.
Thank you.
JB again, and how much improv goes into it when you're in the booth and you're reading something and you're like, okay, maybe we can flex a little bit, or they're like, nah, just cancel that. Like, how much of that goes into play when you're voice acting?
Really varies. So you'll improvise usually like little sounds or fumfers or laughs and stuff like that you can change. But some, content is pretty intensely and pretty like tightly scripted, so you don't change much there. But again, things like Scratch, there's a lot of improv because I've usually not seen the script before. So it's kind of all cold reading, maybe not so much as improv, but just like, oh, we're where? Doing what? Okay, so in that sense, yes.
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will.
If this the land of the free, it was a freedom then, when they annexed Hawaii and called it cedar lands, without any type of payment and no signing off. Called themselves a republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand, yeah. Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No regard for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. We will. So if you put Hawaii into perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then of course versus Asia, they was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course. Cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No regard for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. We will.